Dear students, have a good day. Today I would like to make you know regarding the physiography of our country. In the sense, the physical divisions of India or the physical features of our country. Say the relief features or the surface features are not similar and even everywhere. They are different from place to place. The topography is varied from one region to another region. Say in the sense, at some particular places we have mountains, hills, plains, valleys, deserts, deltas, forests, and so on. Say, to speak about the topography of our country or the physical features of our country, India can be divided into 4 physical divisions. The 4 physical divisions: the northern mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, and the coastal plains. I suppose most of us are quite familiar with the physical map of any region. Say, this map shows us how the features of India are. Say, in what way India consisting of the different physical features or the physical divisions. See, the color which is shown with brown, say excluding this Nepal and Bhutan, in this particular region we have these northern Himalayas or northern mountains, what it is mentioned in our textbook. Say the northern mountains are nothing but these Himalayan ranges. This is one of the 4 physical divisions of our country. South to the northern mountains are these Himalayas which have been stretched from Jammu and Kashmir, say from the Indus Gorge or Indus Valley up to the Brahmaputra Valley in the east. Say, south to these Himalayas, we have the northern plains. This is the region which is having a plain land. Plain is a even land. The land which is flat. Say, so to this, the northern plains, vast stretch of plain land, we have the 3rd physical division of our country, that is the peninsular plateau. The peninsular plateau in this particular map, which is shown with yellow mixed with bit green. Say, this entire region shows you how vast the peninsular plateau is. And the 4th physical division of our country, that is the coastal plains, along with the coast, along with the west coast of India as well as east coast of India, we have the coastal plain, a narrow strip of land. which is between the peninsular plateau and Arabian Sea on the west coast, and the peninsular plateau and the Bay of Bengal on the east coast. So these are the four physical divisions of our country. The four physical divisions are to be known bit in detail. The northern mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, and the coastal plains. So let us just go through to know still more information regarding these each physical division of India. Firstly, let me make you understand regarding these Himalayan ranges, or they are called the northern mountains. The northern mountains, which have been stretched from, say, river Indus originates somewhere in the Kailash mountains in the Himalayan ranges, flows northwestwards, enters into Pakistan in a particular, through a particular gorge, a narrow valley, enters into Pakistan and diverts its direction and flows southwestwards and joins Arabian Sea near Karachi. Say, of course, I am going to tell you regarding the Himalayan ranges. The Himalayan ranges which have stretched from this Indus Valley or Indus Gorge up to the Brahmaputra Valley, which originates somewhere in the Himalayas, in the Tibetan Plateau, and flows north eastwards, enters India in Arunachal Pradesh, that too through a narrow gorge, and enters India, flows in the northeastern states and flows into Bangladesh and joins Bay of Bengal in Bangladesh. Say, in this entire region we have these Himalayan mountains. The Himalayan mountains are the northern plains. Of course, the Himalayan mountains which have the northern plains on the south, they have stretched from the Indus Valley up to the Brahmaputra Valley. Say, they have been extending for over 2,400 kilometers. Say, the length of the Himalayan mountains is about 2,400 kilometers, and they have also even stretched in these regions, say in the northeastern region, say Assam, Manipur, Nagaland, Tripura. In these states also our northern mountains have been extended. The width of the Himalayas, or the area of the Himalayas, varies from 240 kilometers to 320 kilometers. Say, they are a bit wider on the northwestern side and they are narrower on the northeastern side. Of course, the width decreases. Say, these ranges are very high. They have formed a kind of natural wall on the north to our country. The Himalayan mountains, say this entire stretch of land which is stretched from this Indus Valley to Brahmaputra Valley is protecting our country from the cold winds blowing from Central Asia, and it is protecting our country from the foreign invasions on the north. And these are the mountains which are very rich as far as the minerals and the natural resources are concerned, and they are also the birthplace for many rivers, many perennial rivers. Say in the sense, number of tributaries of river Ganga. I suppose you must be knowing river Ganga originates somewhere in the Himalayas. Say Gangotri is the glacier, so it flows eastwards and joins Brahmaputra somewhere in Bangladesh, that to near Dhaka, and both these rivers, after meeting, they flow into Bay of Bengal. Say the major rivers are the tributaries of river Ganga, say Yamuna, Raman Ganga, Gandak, Koshi. All these tributaries of river Ganga originate in the Himalayas and they flow into river Ganga, and they are perennial rivers in the sense they flow with water throughout the year. Similarly, many rivers or many tributaries of river Indus, say river Chena, Bias, Ravi, Satluj, all these rivers originate in the Himalayas and they flow into Indus Valley. In the sense, they join the Indus River. Of course, they are also the perennial rivers. Say, why I am telling regarding these perennial rivers, it is because the perennial rivers are such kind of rivers which fed with water from the Himalayas. Say, throughout the year, these rivers flow with water. They don't become dry even during the summers. And they are the places, or they are the natural resources for our country to generate hydroelectricity. Say, so much of the advantages we have from the Himalayas. Say, in addition with that, let us know regarding the different landforms there in the northern mountains or the Himalayas. Say, these Himalayas or the northern mountains can be classified into three types of ranges of the mountains. Three types of the ranges of the mountains. One is the Greater Himalayas. The Himalayas or the northern mountains can be classified on the basis of the average height of the ranges of the mountains. Say, the northern mountains can be classified or divided into three ranges. The three ranges of the northern mountains or the Himalayas are, one is the, I am going to write here, the Greater Himalayas. Greater Himalayas. The second type of the Himalayas are the Lesser Himalayas. foothills of Himalayas. Say, on the basis of the average height of the ranges of the mountains, these Himalayas can be divided into these three types of the ranges: the greater Himalayas, the lesser Himalayas, and the foothills of Himalayas. See, the greater Himalayas, whose average height is more than 4,500 meters above the sea level. In the sense, the tall ranges of the mountains are regarded as the greater Himalayas. The tall mountains or the ranges of the mountains in the Himalayan ranges are regarded as the greater Himalayas. They are also called Himadris. Himadri. And the lesser Himalayas, whose average height varies from 1500 to 4500 meters. 1500 to 4500 meters above the sea level. So, such kind of ranges of the Himalayas are called lesser Himalayas. We have the lesser Himalayas in the middle of the greater Himalayas and the foothills. And the foothills of the Himalayas are such kind of the ranges of Himalayas whose average height is lesser than 1500 meters. Say from 500 to 1500 meters. Say, where is the position of these ranges of the Himalayas? Say, the Himadris or the greater Himalayas are to the northernmost part of Himalayas. They are very tall. The average height of the greater Himalayas is 6,100 meters. Of course, the mountains whose height is more than 4,500 meters, they are to be called as the greater Himalayas. The average height of these ranges is for about 6,100 meters. The Himadris or the greater Himalayas are known for many glaciers, valleys, passes, etc. In the sense, of course, the greater Himalayas are famous for the 8 highest peaks of the world. The 8 highest peaks, mountain peaks of the world are found in the Himalayan ranges. The highest peak or the highest mountain, the Mount Everest, is somewhere here on the northern border of Nepal, whose height is 8,848 meters. Similarly, there are many other greater mountains or the tall mountains in the greater Himalayas. Say Kanchenjunga, whose height is 8,559 meters. Makhalu, which is of 8,481 meters. Dhaulagiri, 8,172 meters. Manaslu, 8,156. And there are some other tall mountains such as Nanda Devi, Himagiri, and the K2, the Godwin Austen, which is the highest peak of our country. In the sense, Mount Everest is in Nepal. The highest peak or the highest mountain that is located in our country or India's highest mountain is Mount Godwin Austen, whose height is 8,611 meters. Say, such kind of tall mountains, for about 8 tallest mountains of the world are found in the Greater Himalayas, which are more famous as Himadris. Himadris, they are called Himadris because these peaks of the mountains or these ranges of the mountains are covered with ice and snow. And the Greater Himalayas are also famous for some passes, the narrow passes. For example, Burji, Lozila, Sipkila, such kind of famous passes we have there in the Greater Himalayas. Say, south to the Greater Himalayas, we have the Lesser Himalayas, the other ranges of the Himalayas, which are south to the Himadris, whose average height is more than 1500 meters to 4500 meters. Say, these lesser Himalayas are which are called Himachal ranges. In the sense, not Himachal Pradesh, they are called Himachal, whose peaks are covered with snow and ice. Say, their width varies from 60 kilometers to 80 kilometers. Say 60 kilometers to 80 kilometers. Somewhere they are wide for about 60 kilometers and somewhere they are more wider, even up to 80 kilometers. Say, these Himachal ranges, the Himachal or these lesser Himalayas are between the Himadris, Greater Himalayas and the Shivaliks, or say foothills of the Himalayas, another range of the Himalayas. Say, the Himachal ranges or the lesser Himalayas are known for so many parallel ranges of the mountains. So many parallel ranges, fold mountains we can call them as parallel ranges. These ranges are parallel to one another. They have been stretched in the east-west direction. They are fold mountains. Say, they are known for so many parallel ranges of the mountains. Say, for example, Pir Panjal, Daulgar, Nagtibba, Mussoorie, Mahabharat, Darjeeling. These are the famous parallel ranges which are the part of the lesser Himalayas, and they are known for so many famous valleys, famous beautiful valleys. The Kashmir, Kangra, Kulu, Manali, these are the famous valleys which are located in the lesser Himalayas. And the lesser Himalayas are also quite famous for the hill stations which attract thousands of tourists during the summers. The famous hill stations are Shimla, Ranikhet, Mussoorie, etc. And the Shivaliks, the small mountains, are the foothills whose average height is lesser than 1500 meters. They are south to the Himachal ranges. They are south to the Himachal ranges. The Shivaliks are not in series. They are Himalayas are bit away from one another. Somewhere they are in the form of ranges, say in the form of ranges, or say in the series of mountains or hills, but at many places they are far apart from one another. Say the Shivaliks are quite famous for the flat bottom structured valleys which are known as dunes. So this is what regarding the Himalayas. The another physical division of our country, that is the northern plains. The region which is shown with this green color is said to be northern plain. Say the northern plain which is south to the Himalayas and north to this peninsular plateau. Say this entire region, I am just showing you how vast the northern plain is. I just include this much of the land. Of course, I am showing this particular area with the slanting lines. Say even this northern plain extends even in this Assam. The northern plains, say this Bangladesh is also consisting of the plain land. The northern plain which is south to the Himalayas and north to the peninsular plateau is formed by the depositional work of the three rivers of the North India. The three rivers in the sense, the major tributary of river Indus, that is Satluj, and river Ganga and river Brahmaputra. These three rivers have drained the soil, means they have eroded the soil from the Himalayas and they have deposited the soil in this particular region or say in this plain. So that is why this particular land or this particular area is consisting of a very rich alluvial soil. The northern plains, which is for about 7 lakh square kilometers in its area, next to the peninsular plateau. This being the second largest physical division of our country, is very much rich as far as the minerals and other natural resources are concerned. Moreover, the area is quite useful for undertaking the agricultural activities. Say in the sense, naturally the soil has become very fertile because of the alluvial soil deposited by the river Satluj, say in Punjab, Haryana, in these states. And this Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, northern parts of Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal, these states are consisting of the plain land or the northern plains. So this land is quite good for undertaking the agricultural activities, and moreover the land is quite useful for undertaking the irrigational activities, because so many tributaries of river Ganga flows in the northern plains. So northern plain plays a quite important role in the field of agriculture. Probably most of us know that the northern plains is inhabited with dense population. More than half of the population of India is inhabiting in this area, and the area is quite famous for or quite favorable for the construction of roadways, railways, and quite favorable for the communication facilities. So we have a very good network of the roadways and railways there. The climate is also quite comfortable. Hence, the population is dense there. The population, more than half of India's population is inhabiting in this particular region. So this is what regarding the northern plains. So then, the largest physical division of our country, that is the peninsular plateau, which is extending from these Aravalli mountains on the northwest, say up to this, and from Chota Nagpur plateau, say in this entire region we have the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau, which I am showing with the parallel lines or say the horizontal lines, and later on just I show you with these blocks, in the sense this particular region which I have marked with the horizontal lines and perpendicular lines is the peninsular plateau, the third physical division of India. This being the largest physical division of our country, the peninsular plateau being the largest, say you can see the entire region which is shown with yellow mixed with green color. This region is the peninsular plateau of our country. The peninsular plateau of our country is surrounded by the Aravalli mountains on the northwest, which are in Rajasthan, Aravalli mountains, and the Western Ghats on the west. The Western Ghats which are along the west coast of India, the Western Ghats on the west, and Eastern Ghats which are along with the east coast of India up to the valley of Mahanadi in Odisha. So we have the Eastern Ghats, and here the Rajmahal Hills, say in the northeastern part. So the peninsular plateau is surrounded by these particular ranges of the mountains. Say Aravalli mountains on the northwest, Western Ghats on the west, Eastern Ghats on the east, and Rajmahal Hills on the east. Say in the middle of the peninsular plateau we have the other two ranges of the mountains which are called the Vindhya ranges and Satpura ranges. I will show you on that, particularly on this map which I have drawn. Say here we have the Vindhya ranges. Parallel to the Vindhya ranges we have Satpura hills. The Satpura hills which are between the river Narmada and river Tapi. And these Western Ghats along with the western coast, and the Eastern Ghats, say up to river Mahanadi in the north, say from Kanyakumari to the valley or up to the delta of river Mahanadi, we have the Eastern Ghats. Here we have Rajmahal Hills. These are the Aravalli Hills or mountains. Say the peninsular plateau is surrounded by these ranges of the mountains. The peninsular plateau can be divided into three plateaus. I suppose the students must be knowing that what is a plateau. Plateau is called a tableland. The land which is surrounded by a very low land and the top of which is flat. To say you in simple terms, a table like land or tableland is called a plateau. Say the peninsular plateau can be divided into three plateaus. Say the peninsular plateau which is north to the these Vindhyas is said to be Malwa plateau. This particular plateau is said to be Malwa plateau. And the part of the peninsular plateau which is north to or northeast to these Michael ranges. Say here we have another ranges of the mountains in the middle part of our country. Say the Michael ranges are also regarded as the part of the Vindhyas. The part of the peninsular plateau which is north to these Michael ranges are said to be, of course this particular plateau is said to be Chota Nagpur plateau. Chota Nagpur plateau. And the major part of the peninsular plateau which is south to these Vindhyas is said to be the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau. Say the Deccan Plateau is surrounded by Vindhyas on the north, Western Ghats on the west, and Eastern Ghats on the east. Say these are the three parts of the peninsular plateau: the Malwa plateau, Chota Nagpur plateau, and the Deccan plateau. The peninsular plateau is quite favorable for undertaking the agricultural activities, as the soil is black and many rivers, many southern rivers which originate in the Western Ghats flow along with the peninsular plateau. Say the major river Krishna, originates somewhere in Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra, flows eastwards and flows through Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Simandra and joins this Bay of Bengal. And another major river Godavari, which originates somewhere in the Vindhyas, flows southeastwards and joins Bay of Bengal. And the river Mahanadi, which originates somewhere in the Michael ranges, flows southeastwards and joins Bay of Bengal. Similarly, river Kaveri, which originates somewhere in the Western Ghats, say that to a particular place, Talkaveri, and flows southeastwards and joins Bay of Bengal in Tamil Nadu. See, all these rivers, river Krishna, Godavari, Mahanadi and Kaveri, these are the major South Indian rivers. All these flow eastwards because this Deccan Plateau slopes eastwards. They gradually slopes eastwards. Hence, all these rivers flow eastwards, and they are quite good for undertaking the agricultural activities. But as the northern rivers, the South Indian rivers are not perennial. They are imperennial rivers. They don't flow with water during the summer. Say, the Western Ghats, regarding the Western Ghats are continuous. They are tall comparing to the Eastern Ghats. Say, in the Western Ghats, we have a very thin, very dense forest, evergreen forests. Say, Western Ghats are quite vertical, or they are quite taller on the western side, and then gradually slopes eastwards. They are known for some passes. The Western Ghats are known for some passes, say Bor Ghat, Thal Ghat, Pal Ghat. Say, the Pal Ghat Pass, which is in Kerala, south to the Pal Ghat, the Western Ghats south to the Pal Ghat Pass, have consisting of some other minor ranges of the Western Ghats. They are called Annamalai, Palani, Cardamom, or Ilaimalai. So such kind of the ranges we have. Say, these Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, they meet in the ranges of the mountains which are called Nilgiri Hills. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats meet in the Nilgiri Hills, or these are called Nilgiri ranges of the mountains. The highest peak of South India, that is Anaimuri, which is about 2695 meters, is located in the Nilgiri Hills, or say in the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats are also called Sahyadri mountains. As regards with the Eastern Ghats are not continuous like the Western Ghats. They are separated by the rivers, say river Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari, and Mahanadi. The Eastern Ghats, which have been stretched from Kanyakumari in the south up to the river Mahanadi in the north. The Western Ghats have stretched from the Tapi river in the north up to Kanyakumari. The Eastern Ghats are not so tall compared to the Western Ghats. They are not continuous even. They are separated by the river valleys or river deltas. And the highest mountain in the Eastern Ghats is Armakonda or Sitamakonda. So, whose height is 1680 meters. So, this is regarding this Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. It is because the peninsular plateau is mainly surrounded by the Western Ghats on the west and Eastern Ghats on the east. So, then regarding the smallest physical division of India, that is the coastal plains of our country. The coastal plains of our country have stretched from Rann of Kutch, from this region to along with the west coast of India, say between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. So this is called west coastal plain, and it has been stretched up to Kanyakumari, and the coastal plain of our country has been stretched along with the east coast up to this Kolkata, or say up to the mouth of river Ganges. Say this entire part of the ocean, which is being shown with this particular blue color, is the coastal plain of our country. The coastal plain of our country can be divided into two coastal plains. Say west coastal plain from Ran of Kutch to Kanyakumari, the southernmost part of the mainland of India, and from Kanyakumari to Kolkata or up to the mouth of river Ganges, which we can call as the eastern coastal plain. Western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. The length of the coast of India is 6,200 kilometers. So along with the coast of our country, we have the coastal plain. The western coastal plain is narrow comparing to the eastern coastal plain. Eastern coastal plain is somewhat wider. Say the western coastal plain, whose width varies from 20 kilometers to 80 kilometers, whereas the width of the eastern coastal plain varies from 30 or 35 kilometers to 200 kilometers. Say the area of the coastal plain of our country is for about 3.5 lakh square kilometers. The coastal plain of our country is for about 3.5 lakh square kilometers, and the peninsular plateau, its area is for about 17 lakh square kilometers, which is the largest physical division of our country, whereas the northern plains area is for about 6 lakh square kilometers. 6 lakh square kilometers, whereas the northern mountains area is 5 lakh square kilometers. So the peninsular plateau being the largest physical division, the second largest one is the northern plains, and the third largest one is the northern mountains, and the smallest physical division being the coastal plains. The coastal plain plays a quite important role in the economy of our country, because it is consisting of so many famous ports, or say the harbors. Say Kandla, Port Kandla, say Mumbai, Goa, Mangalore, Kochi, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, then is Kolkata. These ports are quite famous in respect of the foreign trade, or the sea and oceanic routes are concerned. See, the coastal plains are quite famous for the preparation of the salt, and they are quite famous for the fertilizer industries. So hence the coastal plains play a quite equal important role as these northern plains and regarding what the physical divisions of our country. But we need to know these are not the only 4 physical divisions. In addition with these, we have some islands in our country. We have some islands, say the Andaman Nicobar Islands, which are in the Bay of Bengal, and Lakshadweep Islands, which are on the west to India, say in the Arabian Sea. Say there are for about 247 islands in our country. 247 islands. The major islands are in the group of Andaman Nicobar Islands. See, we have for about 204 islands in the cluster of Andaman Nicobar Islands. The rest of the islands, say for about 43 islands are there in the Lakshadweep Islands. So this is what regarding to the physical divisions of our country. Say these divisions, the physical divisions, they play quite important role in respect of the determination of the weather and climate. It has its direct impact on the climate, weather, and the diversity in the biosphere, say in the world of animals as well as in the world of plants. Thank you.